Okay, so today, Friday, November 13th, you are going to be meeting with a substitute today. But I still have my video lesson recorded for you and everything that you need to know. Okay, we're going to start off with checking off our I can statement. So if we take a look, we're still working here in topic E. We have finished lesson 14, so you should now be able to say, I can skip count objects in models to build fluency with multiplication facts using units of 4. We are skipping lesson 15, and currently we're working on lesson 16. Okay, so that's where we're at right now with our lesson objectives. We are going to watch our lesson 16 video, and then at the end you will have a Kami assignment to complete. Remember, if you need an online whiteboard, to come to my virtual classroom for today, Friday, and click on the online whiteboard here. Let's go ahead and get started. Today we're doing Module 1, Lesson 16. Your objective is to use the distributive property as a strategy to find related multiplication facts. The materials needed for today's lesson are your online whiteboard or your whiteboard dry erase marker and dry eraser from home. We're going to continue to follow the teaching style of I do, we do, and then you do. First up, we have a new vocabulary term. And the vocabulary term is distribute. And the way that we're going to define distribute, or the way we are using it, is to break apart one large array into two smaller arrays. So here you see 3 rows of turkeys all together, and there's 2 turkeys in each row. So we took that big array and we broke it into 2 smaller arrays, and I've put a box around each of those arrays. So you can see that this top array here is 2 rows of 2, which equals 4 turkeys. So that's what we have written right here. 2 rows of 2 equals 4. Down at the bottom, there's only 1 row of 2. 1 row of 2 equals just 2 turkeys. So then what I've done is I've come over here and I've added together the 2 rows of 2 and the 1 row of 2, okay? And that equals our 3 rows of 2 altogether. Now we said that 2 rows of 2 equaled 4, 1 row of 2 equals 2, so then we're just adding the 4 and the 2, and 4 plus 2 is 6. So what we did was we took this big array and we broke it into 2 smaller arrays, and we used those answers to help us figure out how many were in the big array, okay? And that's what we're going to be working on today. So first up, I'm going to kind of show you how this works. Our first problem is to model the 5 plus n pattern as a strategy for multiplying using units of 4, okay? So what we have here is it wants us to model 5 times 4 and 2 times 4 to show 7 times 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the first 5 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to put a box around that. Okay, so this is 5 rows of 1, 2, 3, 4 in each row. So 5 rows of 4. Okay. Then I'm going to put a box down here. And this is 2 rows. 2 rows of 1, 2, 3, 4. Still 4. Remember, the size has not changed. Well, let's go ahead and solve each of those, okay? So we're going to practice our skip counting by force. And I'm just going to label it right here, really small. 4, 8, 12, 16. And remember, if you're still struggling to count by fours, you can go one at a time. So I can start at 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay? Well, 5 rows of 4 equals 20. Now I have to count 2 rows of 4. So I'm going to start over. 4, 8. 2 rows of 4 equals 8. Okay, so I've solved the top part of the array. I've solved the bottom part of the array. Now I need to put them together to be able to show what 7 rows of 4 equals, okay? Because I have this 5 rows plus the 2 rows, okay? And 5 plus 2 is where we get that 7. 7 rows all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay? So I'm going to take 5 times 4, and I'm just going to put parentheses around it to help me remember that equation is this one here, plus 2 times 4. Okay, so plus our 2 times 4, and that should equal 7 times 4, okay? Because we're adding those 2 arrays together to get our big array, which is 7 rows of 4. Well, we need to solve each of these. 5 times 4 we already figured out was 20. 2 times 4 we already figured out was 8. So now we're just adding them together, 20 plus 8. Well, 20 plus 8 equals 28. So 7 times 4 equals 28. Okay, so we took 2 easier problems, figured out the answer, and then added them together to solve the harder problem. Okay, now is the part where you're going to do it with me. Okay, so I'm going to give you just a moment to get this array drawn on your whiteboard. Okay, we are solving 9 rows of 4. So you need to draw an array that shows 9 rows of 4. Remember, when you're making your array, you want to try to have your rows and your columns straight. And when you've finished drawing the array, please hold it up so that the substitute can see that you are ready to move on. Okay, I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to get that drawn. About 30 more seconds, okay? Go ahead and finish that up. 9 rows of 4. Okay, so you should have your array that's 9 rows of 4. Now what we're going to do is we're going to show 5 times 4 and 4 times 4. So let's put a box around the first 5 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So go ahead and put a box around the first 5 rows of 4. So this top array is 5 rows of 4. Go ahead and label that 5 rows of 4. Okay, and let's skip count to solve, although many of you might remember the answer from when I just showed it, okay? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. A little trick too is you may have noticed that you could also skip count by 5s this way. 5, 10, 15, 20, okay? So 5 rows of 4 equals 20. Go ahead and make sure you have that written. Now we're going to put a box around the bottom part of the array, which is 4 rows of 4. And let's go ahead and label that 4 rows of 4. Now go ahead and try to skip count on your own to solve 4 rows of 4. If you think you've got it correct, hold it up so the substitute can see if you're right. Okay, let's go ahead and see if you're correct. Now remember, if you're still struggling to skip count by 4s, you can count one at a time and only write the last number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay? So 4 rows of 4 equals 16. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you got that, if you got 16. All right, so let's continue. We have the answer to the top array. We have an answer to the bottom part of the array. Now we need to put them together to figure out what this 9 times 4 is altogether. So let's take our first equation, 5 times 4. Put that in parentheses. Add that to our bottom equation, which is 4 times 4. And we're going to put that in parentheses. And that should equal our 9 times 4. Okay, because 5 plus 4 is 9. So that's where we get that 9. There are 9 rows all together. Make sure you have that equation written. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we need to solve this, and then if we add those together, that should give us our answer to 9 times 4. So go ahead and fill in those blanks. 5 times 4 plus 4 times 4, and what does it equal? Okay, we already solved it over here, so you're filling those numbers in the blank and then adding them together. I'm going to give you a minute to solve and then have you hold up your whiteboards to show us your answers. So go ahead and take this time to solve the equation. Okay, so we know 5 times 4 we solved, and that equals 20. So we're going to fill 20 in the blank. 4 times 4 we figured out was 16. So we're going to fill 16 in the blank. Now go ahead and hold up your whiteboards and show me if you got that far. Let's see if you got 20 plus 16. Hold up those whiteboards and see if some of you even solved it already. All right, so we have our 20 plus our 16, which you might be able to add in your head. If not, you can always go back and stack it and add it. So let's stack it and add it up here. 20 plus 16. We start in the ones. 0 plus 6 equals 6. 2 plus 1 equals 3. So 20 plus 16 equals 36, which means that 9 times 4 equals 36. Okay, so that is how we distribute. We're breaking the big array into 2 smaller arrays and then putting those arrays back together to solve our equation. Let's go ahead and continue. We're now at the part where you will be doing your homework on your own to show what you have learned. You can see that what you're doing is very similar to what we already did, okay? First, they broke it down into 5 groups of 4, okay? And then they have another group down here. So you're taking those 2 groups, you're solving them, and then you're adding them together. Once you get your answer down here, you know that that's the answer to your big equation, and then you can go fill it in up here. Okay, so go ahead and you're going to get that Kami assignment open. You're going to have the rest of class to work on it. Now remember, if you do finish early, make sure you turn it in. After you turn it in, you can go to the virtual classroom, click Done Early. Okay, if you know you have other assignments that you owe me, maybe work that you did not do on your asynchronous days, please make sure that you go back and you do that work before you come here and click Done Early. Okay? All right, go ahead and get started on that Kami assignment.